Uh-oh, I think it's time for another story of my own, another personal story of how I got here. This one's more embarrassing, I think. Welcome back to Far From Eden. I really enjoy all of your feedback and all the comments and the things I learn from some of you. It's great. Sometimes it's about the content, sometimes it's from your own personal lives, and it's wonderful. I wish that I could, have the time and energy to get back to everybody or write back or comment back. And I'm even behind again on the emails. So I know I need a schedule, as if that would help. The MS doesn't like a schedule. It tends to revolt against schedules. It likes to feel good at the most inconvenient times and not feel good. You know what I mean. Anyway, so goodness gracious. Let's see. I was 18 years old. It was the summer after my freshman year of college. For those of you who've been watching my videos and have gotten to know me, I am a college dropout, not because of poor grades, but because I went to be a horse trainer and riding instructor instead. This was before that. So I was just on the equestrian team then, and obviously riding the horses I had at home. But anyway, not the point. I always do this when I'm like, I don't want to tell a story, but I'm going to. So I was 18. It was the summer after my freshman year of college. I had gone up to the same college that was about 3.5, 4 hours away. We drove way too fast back then. I had chosen to go to that college because my high school boyfriend was going to that college. Back then, I made up other reasons. It wasn't because of that. My best friend was also going there. They were very, both my best friend and my high school boyfriend were both very, science-y people. And I was going for journalism, then to advertising. And that school's not for that. But, so yeah, I was lying to myself and others when I said I was going for, other reasons. Like, it wasn't for the weather, but anyway. So I had gone to the same school as he had, and he flunked out after the first year. He flunked out, and he was not allowed to come back. And so it was that summer, and he was going to be going to a local school, kind of start from scratch. And I had planned to go back because I couldn't stay home and, or stay, close to home near him, because that would look like I followed him all the way up to the other school. And it wasn't just because of my best friend and other reasons. So that was one reason I didn't, follow him to the next school. But another thing was that we were boyfriend and girlfriend in high school, but we were only, going steady and exclusive to each other our sophomore year. He broke up with me junior year in the fall, and I didn't want that, and I mistakenly, we had a situation where he and I were still a thing, and he dated these other chicks, but he and I were kind of on the down low, and it was off and on, and it was just, I should have made a lot of different decisions. But that's not what the story's about. So he was working on my parents' farm on a day in the summertime. I don't remember, it was in August. And I said, look, I'm going back up to school. You're staying here. You're still communicating with ex-girlfriends, kind of like current girls. I think if we're going to go to these, different locations, we need to have a commitment or not. I wasn't trying to do an ultimatum, but I was like, I'm not going to do this half on, half off thing anymore. So, he didn't want to stop everything he was doing. He wanted to keep, looking around and dating, because he wanted to make sure that when he got married, he was sure. And I was like, okay, well, all right. And so it was over. Like this time, like over. When you have the like on again, off again type of things, it's probably not at all the same for men. But it was over. And I went back into the house. And we were supposed to go to like a cookout later that day, because a bunch of people in my family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, like there's several people that have birthdays around that time. So we were going to have just a cookout, sort of celebrate everybody's birthday all in one thing. And so I came back in the house. I can't remember this part exactly. I was obviously quite upset, because I knew that he had not, at the end of the day, he hadn't chosen, that he actually wanted to marry me. So it was devastating to me. I was absolutely devastated. I was hyperventilating. I was completely heartbroken. And it felt like my whole life was over. So I said to my mother, I believe both my parents were in the house, I said, I'm not going to go. I don't think I'm going to go this afternoon. And she was like, why? And I told her. And didn't matter. She was like, you're going to go. And I was like, I am completely like devastated. I don't feel well. I can't go. This huge, devastating thing has just happened to me. Didn't matter. So I started to argue. Then it turned into yelling. Then my dad somehow got involved. At some point, I was down the hallway into my bedroom, and my mom was in the bedroom with me. My dad was in the doorway. And I guess for some reason I wanted to exit my bedroom, maybe to get away from my mom, maybe get away from the yelling. I'm not sure. I am sure I said some horrible things. I'm positive. I was probably not yelling lovely things at my parents. I felt very like my feelings didn't matter, and I can see from their point of view, they're like, oh, it's just more boyfriend girlfriend drama, what have you. But anyway, so I was trying to leave my bedroom. My dad was in the doorway. He might have tried to block me, whatever. The next thing I heard was, don't you punch your father? And I was like, because I had not tried to punch my father. I would never do that. I've never tried to punch anybody. No. But I was trying to say, I didn't try to, I saw you. I don't know what she saw. Anyway, the next thing I know, my mother has me pinned down on the bed. Pinned down. Now, I was 18. I was an 18-year-old equestrian. I was not weak, right? But I couldn't move. I struggled. I tried using my legs. I couldn't do it. So she had me pinned down until I submitted, until I wasn't screaming anymore, until I wasn't anything anymore. I still was saying I didn't try to punch my dad. But the point is that she held me down physically while I was trying to throw a giant fit. And I wasn't being kind to my parents about it. I was, instead of saying, I really feel like you're not listening to me and you're not understanding how painful this is, I just started yelling about being forced to go to this cookout and not being listened to, nobody cared. Point is, she held me down. physically sort of restrained me, overtook me, until I stopped being, argumentative, until I gave in. I am not saying violence is the answer. And I think that if I was out of line, it would have been better if my father had handled it. But I think it was good for me. I think it was good for me. Because a couple of reasons. The reason why it was irrelevant to my parents, how I felt that day, what had happened, it was because the way they raised us was, you have a commitment to do. You have a commitment. You've made this commitment. It's not about you, right? That's how I was raised. It's not about you. And if you think it's about you, you're selfish. And so it doesn't really matter how you feel. If there's something that needs to be done, you do it. That's the way we were raised. I mean, from little kids, that's how it was. Both my mom and my dad. So I wasn't shocked. I was upset, but I wasn't shocked when they were like, no, you're going to go. Because it was other people's birthday parties. My emotional whatever didn't matter. I had a responsibility to pull it together and do what needed to be done. I don't think a lot of other people were being raised that way, and I definitely don't think that women were being raised that way. I don't think that women were being raised that their feelings didn't matter as far as what their obligations and their responsibilities were. Right? I don't think that they were taught or told, don't care. You have to pull it together. You have a job. You have a responsibility. You have this. People are counting on you. You don't have the right to just follow whatever your feelings say you should do. And this incident is a really good example of the way both my mom and my dad, which is interesting because a lot of times my mom would follow her feelings, but I can do what I say, not what I do, right? I love my mom, but she had challenges in life. So she taught me some really important things. She did some things my dad was not willing to do as the man of the house. He wasn't willing to take that role, of disciplinarian. And I needed it, so she did that, and that was good. And you know what? I got ready, got cleaned up, washed my face, probably took a shower, and got cleaned up, and I went to that cookout. Nobody knows I was bawling my eyes out earlier. Nobody knew. Took myself to that cookout. And I was glad to be there, actually, when I was there. So that was another thing. That was a gift that my parents gave me in that. And then my mom did what needed to be done in that situation to make sure I did follow through. And it taught me that, I thought I wanted to stay home and, go into the covers and cry. But actually, I went to the cookout where my family was, where the beautiful, beautiful state where I live was. And yeah, I was glad I was there. So I needed to be, forced to do what was best for me. And I'm really glad that I did. And I'm really glad that she, went ahead and held me down until I, stopped fighting. Because I would not, it has served me well, I think. Could there be more balance? Maybe. But I'd rather be off balance in this way. Because it is better to be told your feelings don't matter than to be told your feelings are everything and they're correct. I mean, my parents were telling me your feelings don't matter. Meanwhile, like 10 years later, the next generation's being told like their feelings are being validated. So I don't know, that helped a lot. And I know in this day and age, like that's, that's child abuse. That's CPS, especially if you're divorced and one of you does it. You can't do what needs to be done sometimes. And that's a real handicap, but well, it serves the state, doesn't it? It always comes back to that. Who benefits? Oh, the government benefits. Interesting. Weird how that works. Huh. Weird. What did Paul Harvey say? In If I Were the Devil, which I read in the last video. Our Father who art in Washington. Yep. But anyway, so that's my blast from the past story. Oh, so thanks for listening to it. It's so awkward and embarrassing, but I don't know. Sometimes you guys find things in there that's helpful or revealing or something. So that's my story, and I managed not to say the school or anybody's names. It's like I'm getting better. Then I'll be able to do a live where I trust myself and I don't just dox myself and everyone I know by accident, because I forget. I'm like, well, you guys are my friends, and then I'm like, oh, there's some bad people sometimes. So anyway, I want you guys to take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys on the next one. Love ya.